Happy Friday. So I'm coming to you a little early today for my weekend wine down. And even though it's a little early, I decided to pour a small little glass of wine. This is my Kendall Jackson Grand Reserve Chardonnay, probably the same one I had last week when I came to you live last week. So, as a business coach, I really help everyone tackle the tough challenges of balancing business and work and life, right? It can get really difficult. And I'm excited and hope that she makes it today, right? Because I just was texting LuAnn Nigara, who is my guest today. And she said, I'm on my way home. So I think this is going to be the perfect conversation with her about what it really takes to start and grow a successful, prosperous business. Is that your version? Hi, Darcy. Is that your version of You know what? I thought of that when I said, I poured myself a small glass, right? This is probably what you're actually supposed to pour when you're drinking a glass of wine. But yes, my glasses are normally a little higher up. So let me take a sip and see how it is, because I haven't had a sip yet. I poured it I think I poured it about 15 minutes ago. So it's already getting warm because I didn't want to forget. So hi, Chloe. I'm actually going into the city tonight to go to, do you ever hear of the Food Network? I'm sure I'm a little obsessed with the Food Network. I don't watch a lot of TV. I go in cycles, but whenever I'm cooking, the Food Network's on in the background. So I was so excited. Year after year, they have these big events in the city. And I'm going to something called Aperitivo tonight. And it's supposed to be pairings of drinks and appetizers. And it's run by Scott Conant. I don't know if I'm saying it right. But anyway, he's one of the judges on Chopped. And I can't wait to actually go. So I'm leaving early, which is why I couldn't do the 4 o'clock. So I think I messed LuAnn up a little bit because I originally said 4 o'clock and I'm like, oh, can we do it at 1? So I see she's online now, but I haven't seen her come into the broadcast yet. So let me tell you a little bit about while we're waiting for her. When I hired a coach 3 years ago to take me from one business, which was Expressive Living Art Framing and Consulting. It was a supporter of the interior designers here in the New York tri-state area. I hired a coach to say, well, how do I up an online coaching business? Because now at this stage of life, I want to slow down a little bit in my running around and carrying stuff around for a living. And I wanted to be able to be a little bit more mobile so I could travel. And I hired a coach that is really good. But at the same time, she made it look so easy. Right? She's kind of like one of those lifestyle coaches where she's showing you how much fun she's having all the time. She's here, she's there, she's everywhere, and still runs a ridiculously profitable business. And, teaches you how to kind of do this whole online thing. So as I'm training over the year that I'm training with her, I'm realizing this is not easy at all, right? No matter what we decide to do, hopefully it's your passion, right? Because that's always what makes it a little easier. Whenever it gets, I can put my name up on the screen here. Whenever it gets a little tough and you're working really hard and you're tired and maybe you're juggling family and commitments, you can look at your global vision, what you really want to be in the future, and go, this is why I'm working so hard. Okay, LuAnn is just saying it's not opening the camera. That's very odd. It should. Let me try it one more time to get her on here. Excuse me 1 second. I sent her another link to see if it's going to work. I've done this quite a few times. I've practiced with people, and then I actually did this for the first time last week. So my goal is to do it every week, a weekend wind down, but normally it's going to be around 4:30. So hopefully she's going to pop on here. So I have this neat little desktop that I can see when she comes on, and then I can bring her up into the broadcast. And if she doesn't make it, I might have to bring one of you guys on. So anyway, it takes hard work to focus on growing your business to another level. It takes a vision for yourself. And is she still having trouble? Excuse me 1 second, guys. Let me see if I can add. It should be working. Give me 1 second. Once she comes in through the link, then I bring her. Once you come in through the link, then I bring you into the broadcast. Now, here's the other thing about doing all these things online. Never, ever, ever goes perfectly. Give it a moment after you click the link. I can always do a backup and call her on the phone and have the conversation, but I'd really love to have her here. So let's see if we can get this working. Now she's sending me a text. Hold on, guys. So sorry. I know your time is valuable. She's sending me a picture of myself. Yeah. And saying it's not opening the camera. Okay. She's getting a picture that says connect camera, but it's not actually coming on for her, I don't think. She's typing now. So here's the exact thing that I'm talking about, right? When you're running a business, all kinds of things can happen, and you have to sort of go with the flow, right? One of the things my coach taught me was make it easy. If things happen, okay. It has a circle with a line when I put a cursor onto connect camera. Anyone else want to try if I send you the link? Put a message in the chat if you're looking like you want to hop on. I want to test this camera with somebody. I don't know why it's doing that for her. So maybe I'll call her. I don't know if. Let me see if I can call her. So we are live, but she's not watching because she's trying to connect the camera. And for some reason, it's just not connecting for her, which is so odd. Okay, Darcy, you want to try? Let me send you a message. Because we can actually be 3 in here, which would be really cool. I'm going to send it to you in a private message. I'm going to send you the link and see if it's working. Excuse me. Okay. Okay, Darcy, let's see if we can get you in. It's possible that Be Live is having an issue. I don't know. Okay, Darcy, I sent you a message. And let's see if you can get in. So once you see the screen, you'll hit connect camera. So in the meantime, I wanted to talk about how it all started with a vision, right? It all starts with a vision. You guys want profitable businesses. You want to do what you love. You want to grow it to where it's profitable, where you're enjoying your life and you've got that life-work balance going on. But kind of the reality is in the beginning, sometimes it's not like that. Sometimes you're actually not that able to balance things perfectly in the beginning. And I always tell everyone it's not a sprint to up your business. It's kind of like a marathon. You have to go steady and slow, and some weeks you get more done and some weeks you get less done. but you want to find new time slots that you never thought you had, and maybe wake up a little early, go to bed a little late. It's just not something that you go, oh, I'm going to work 20 hours a week and I'm going to turn this into a hugely profitable business. Sometimes it takes a little extra effort, a little finagling of your life. It's really, really important to have a support system, right? And for some of you where you're struggling with that support system, it could be heart-to-heart conversations you have to have with people. Like, listen, this is my vision. This is what I want to do. And can you support me in this? Okay, LuAnn said I could call her. So let me give her a call. Okay. Let me see if LuAnn's, thank you, Jossie. Let me see if LuAnn's on Chrome. So usually we try to practice these things first, but I'm going to call her. I won't put her on speaker yet, just in case she's frustrated. Hey, I don't have you on speaker yet. I'm live, but I told everyone I'm not putting you on speaker yet because you might be frustrated. So Darcy's actually trying to get in too. You weren't on Chrome? But Chrome is just a browser. You don't need a login for that. Oh, okay. Okay, because this is the reality, and this is why I'm live. I said to everyone, the reality of running a business. So I'm going to put you on speaker while you're trying to figure that out. So you can talk to us while you do that. Okay, so guys, what's happening is LuAnn can't remember her Facebook password, which I know I've done. I actually have a program called LastPass on my computer, which saves all my passwords. So in the meantime, Darcy was trying to get on, and she's the one who said you need to switch to Chrome. So I don't know if you can reset your password.
Okay, that works.
Oh.
I had it in my Word. I had the password saved in my, in my, what you call it.
All right, she found her password. It's never easy, right? This always happens. Something always happens. I'll put you on speaker while you're doing that, okay? Hold on.
Facebook.
All right, LuAnn, you're on speaker. I don't know what
here it is. It was Chrome. That was Darcy that gave us that tip?
That was.
All right, Darcy, good girl. All right, studio believes he wants to use your camera. Allow.
Oh, I see you coming on. All right, wait. Oh, yeah, hang up. I'll bring you up to the broadcast.
Okay.
There you are.
Oh, I can't hear you. Hang on. Holy moly.
This is actually the perfect example of what it's like to run a business.
So true.
So true. Reason, every time LuAnn and I talk, we need to take a deep collective breath together.
It's the truth.
Because either I'm running or she's running or we're both running.
Oh, hi, Chloe. I didn't even get a chance to tell everybody I was going live. I was on appointments this morning and they ran later than I thought. And I wanted to put a thing out. I did a quick Instagram story and I told them that we were going live. So.
Oh, that was good. Yeah, you know what? I shared it all over the place. I know a lot of people, especially in the interior design industry, they're working in the middle of the day.
Yes. And a lot of people today are traveling to High Point.
Yes, a lot of people in High Point. So you know what? They'll watch the replay. That's fine. Because when I schedule things out, I don't know about you. Oh, you have to turn your volume off.
I have to turn my volume off?
Okay. Did you have it playing on your phone? Oh, I'm getting that feedback again. That's so weird. Okay. Lower your volume a little bit.
on my computer.
Yeah, let's see if that helps a little bit, or maybe I'll lower mine.
What I'm trying to do is I'm trying to go on your Facebook site so I can share it from there.
It should be sharing on your Facebook page already, because I shared the broadcast the other day, or it's on your personal page at least.
Okay.
But certainly you can check. Anyway, so I started to say how, my weekend wind downs are kind of like conversations about focusing on a better you, a better business, and what it really takes to run a business is what we wanted to talk about today. So I think this was the perfect example. And I was saying how when I hired a coach, I hired like this lifestyle coach who just looked like she had the most glamorous lifestyle. And not that I thought I wanted that a little bit. And I thought, okay, this is the lifestyle I'm going to have. I'm going to become an online coach and leave the, interior design industry partner field and come over here. And guess what? It's not as glamorous as people make it look. And there's this little trick that they tell you, and I'm going to teach everyone this. So I'm a business coach, so I totally get it. But if someone says to you, you only work 2 days a week, it's you can run a huge coaching business or any business on 2 days a week. What they really mean is the other 3 days, they're doing that because I love what I do and it doesn't feel like work to me.
Yeah, I mean, I don't.
I love what I do, but it's still work.
I'm still working on getting 2 days a week off from work.
Right. Okay. So you're the perfect example of working 7 days a week. And I guess I think I kind of do too, because of this evil thing, the phone.
Yeah. Well, and we talked about how we're both in the middle of, starting a new thing. You know what I mean? It's like, it's a lot of people, look, a lot of people that we talk to are at the very beginning. They're in their 20s, their 30s, and they're starting a new business. We're not in our 20s or 30s.
Really? Wait, let me take a sip of my wine. I said in the beginning, I poured myself a small glass because it's early and really weekend wine down should be later. And who was it? Darcy said, if that's a small glass of wine, I want to be your friend or I want to hang out with you. I'm like, this is true because my glasses are normally up to here. Okay, well, you're telling me I'm not 20 anymore. I'm going to take a sip. Go ahead. Keep going.
No. But so here we are, and we're in our 50s and we are both in the middle of launching new things. You know what I mean? And so it's funny because I just listened to today the podcast, Mark McDonough's Tastefully Inspired podcast. I don't think he calls it that anymore. Now he calls it Interior Design Business Marketing or something like that. But he had Dixie and Rachel on the podcast from Design and Style. And he said, what did you think about starting a podcast? Did you think it would be easy? And they both cracked up and they're like, yeah. And they even said in the show, and we even talked to LuAnn and she told us, the good, bad, and the ugly about it. And we didn't believe her. We just went ahead anyway.
You didn't say, don't do it. No, you know what? It's fun, obviously, right? We don't do it if it was completely horrible. We love what we do. But the reality is, like now, when you said we're rolling out new things, listen, guys, it's the last quarter of the year. LuAnn and I, as you guys should be, planning for your next quarter. Like, what new marketing avenue may you be going towards? What new communications, what new programs are you going to roll out? Or what additional things do you want to learn in order to become an expert in something over the next year? This is planning time.
Yeah, I think it's great. I just want to tell everybody that, Nancy in the last 2 weeks has literally said to me at least 3 times in the 2 weeks. Okay. Oh, do you have the first quarter planned yet? Like, because I need you to plan your quarter so I can plan my quarter. We have to plan it together. Like, what are you doing? This and that. And I'm just like, oh my God, like, I know I need to do this, but I'm like, she is on it. It is October. And I'm like, all right. We'll plan the first quarter.
Well, as Caden just wrote, is my oldest child and my VA said weekends. What weekends? Right? Exactly. He can't move out of this house fast enough. He moved back in out for 2 years. He came back in for a short period of time. He's like, Mom, you're exhausting. Like, 'cause I think as entrepreneurs, your mind for some people it's different. For me, it's new programs, different ways I can help people. Let's do a mastermind. Let's do a group coaching. Let's change the one-on-one a little bit. Let's do weekend wind down and then start doing webinars. I'm always thinking, how can I serve everybody the next way? Some way that's going to fit their lifestyle. And me continue to learn, right? It's a constant learning process.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. Yeah, we are getting feedback, aren't we?
A little feedback, yeah.
I don't know. It's not because I have my phone on too, right?
I think I have to lower my volume more. Can you still hear me when I lower my volume?
I can.
Okay, so
everybody else can.
Can everyone hear me? So I kind of started out talking about when you first had the vision, right? And although you still have window works with your husband and your cousin, I think it's kind of interesting for everyone to hear about how the podcast came about. And I know you've told the story before, but not everyone's heard it. And how you set that vision and how that vision keeps you going at times like this when the technology's not working.
Believe me, and I will share that story, but I'm just going to tell you, honestly, on Wednesday of this week, I had an interview scheduled, my Design Biz Live, the one that I do audio and video with Corey Klassen, and an interview scheduled an hour after that with Adam Spugel from Australia, and the internet would not cooperate. So here I am, 18 months into it, and every single time we would say 3 sentences, the internet would go down. And it was brutal. And I'm just like, okay, so this is the day this week that I allotted to this, and they didn't get done. And it's annoying. So the lesson in it is that you just have to plow through, and you have to be nimble, and you have to have your sense of humor while the other person is not having their technology work. In this case, it was me. In that case, it was the internet. But so how the podcast started.
Wow.
Podcast started because I think there's 2 different ways, and I'm not sure which way you want it. So do you want actually the germ of the idea or the reason for the podcast?
Well, let's say when it gets tough for you, when you're stressed out, working 7 days a week, going, why am I doing this? Like, what was your original vision and what keeps you going? Because I think it all starts with a vision. And that's what keeps us going through the ups and the downs and the work and, changing direction every week sometimes. So what's the vision for you?
Well, the vision is originally for the podcast that its least common denominator, it would be a marketing tool for WindowWorks. So much the way an interior designer might start a podcast where that designer talks about decorating, about how you select paint and how you hang the pictures and how you decide on what size an area rug would be for a particular room. That's a viable topic for a podcast for an interior designer to launch, because you come on every week, you share your tips. There are, a dozen podcasts like that out there now. Ballard Designs is doing it. There's a ton of people doing it, okay? And there's always room for another one. So if you're a designer out there and you're thinking, I'd like to do that in order to market my interior design firm and I might get clients from it, I would say as long as you're prepared to do e-design, because, of course, the podcast reaches all over the world, then it is a valid marketing thing. It is not an easy, valid marketing thing. It is just a valid marketing thing. So, and it also depends on at what level you do it. To me, I hope everybody can see and agree that I take it very seriously. I do it at the very best I can. I do not settle. Like when I'm having internet problems, the interview gets canceled. I'm not plowing through and putting out an interview that is sound-wise and quality-wise really hard to listen to, because I'm not doing that to my listener. So I lose an afternoon and have to restart over again. That's my commitment to that. So at the very least common denominator, it would be a marketing vehicle for WindowWorks. So that vision is there. And it has provided that. We have gotten a lot of business from interior designers that literally, Gail Davis has become a great client of WindowWorks. And the crazy thing is she is 2 miles, maybe 4 miles from WindowWorks and never knew we were there. And we've been in business more than 30 years. So think about that. right there.
That's incredible.
Okay. So, and then there have other designers that we have been doing their window treatment since they found us through the podcast. So that was the very least. And then, of course, there's other, initiatives for the podcast and other reasons why I did it. I really firmly believe that, I love interior designers. I love their vision. I love the creativity. And it pained me for 30 years to watch different colleagues that I've met through the years struggle with having such an inordinate amount of talent and not having a pipeline of full clients because they didn't understand the business side of it. And that's for anybody. You could be, I always say you could be a bricklayer and you could lay the most amazing bricks and the most amazing intricate patterns. But if you don't know how to market and you don't know how to watch your finances and you don't know how to forecast your next quarter and you don't do these things, then you can't lay bricks for anybody. And so I was passionate about, my thing is I've said this and I don't remember where I've said what to who. Okay.
That's all right to repeat.
Right. When I met Vin, he had just purchased the Window Works franchise. He was the very first franchise in New Jersey. At that point, the franchise existed in Florida, and there was probably, I want to say 20 stores in Florida, although I can't recall, and he would say right now it was this many. But he was the first one in New Jersey, and he had it open. He was still working out of his home. He had it open about 6 or 8 months before I started working for him. And he was doing maybe an average of $3,000 or $4,000 a month. I mean, that's one appointment for us now, right? And so it was new is the point. And what I always say is, so I was dating him at the time, and I had left a job in sales, and I had found myself at this point where it was the first time in my life was not working in sales. And after about 3 months of it, I wanted to pull my hair out because I was just like, oh my God, this is the most boring thing under the sun. I need to get back to sales. And so I was dating him and he's like, well, I got this little window treatment company on the side. He owned 2 health clubs at the time. He was a probation officer in Newark. And this was his side hustle. And so, yeah. And so he was like, I'm like, well, what are window treatments? Because I grew up with, like you got it out of a package at the Two Guys store, right? And so he was like, well, it's blinds and it's this and that. And I was like, all right, I sell them though. Like I can sell them. He's like, yeah, I'm like, I'll sell them. And, very quickly I was, working with him and he went from $1,000, $2,000, $3,000 a month. In 6 months, I was selling $10,000 and $15,000 a month by myself. And a year and a half later, I was literally the highest grossing salesperson in all of the Florida stores that were mature and up and running, and our store, because I'm a crazy pants person.
So he married you.
Yeah, exactly. I have to tell you, the owners of Window Works, after about 3 years of me selling for them. And the first year is like, well, I'll get you a car. And the next year it's like, I'll pay your health benefits. And the next year I'll do this. And finally, the owners of Window Works, the actual franchise, were like, you're going to have to marry her because you're not going to be able to afford to pay her commissions.
Brilliant.
But the reason I go down that story is that I always say to everybody, if I had met him and he had a copy machine store, we'd have an amazing copy machine business right now. Because for me, unlike interior designers, I have always been motivated by the business side of it, by the analysis, what are we doing and where are we going and what are we doing. And so watching interior designers work so hard and create the most amazing things and not be profitable it just turned my stomach. And I just finally was like, you know what, you have the ability to help. Let's see if it works. Let's see if anybody wants to hear what you have to say about it. And of course, I like to do it through interview, because then, there's times and I could get on and it's at the point where people are asking me to do solo shows and stuff like that. And I may get to that and I may do that, but I like bringing it out through the real life experiences of the peers of other interior designers. And so because there are some things that I don't understand about it. I just had an hour-long conversation with Corey Klassen yesterday about flat fees. And that's so intricate. It's so intricate.
It's so intricate.
And there's a lot of things that coincide, but the flat fee versus the hourly structure doesn't relate to what we do at WindowWorks. And so in that regard, I think it's very helpful for the designers to hear it from a designer.
Definitely, because, like I say, new designers trying to bring in this flat fee concept, and they're like, well, how do I figure out how many hours it's going to take me? So it's very hard for a new designer. There's so many different business models that they can set their fees based on. And it has a lot to do with their experience, their comfort level, how good they are at putting it together right there in the moment, right? Figuring out so they don't lose money. So many people are losing money on their hours when they do a flat fee if they're not going to do it correctly. And it's so intricate. And I'm very much like you. I was in the banking world for 10 years, started having kids. Then I started selling my mother's artwork. You know the story. Home art parties. And then an interior designer walked in and said, can you bring this to my client's home? And next thing you know, can you help us frame it? Can you install it? And I'm like, yes, of course. Yes, of course. I don't have an artistic bone in my body. Literally, my mother's an artist. My son is a singer and also a great photographer, right? They all have different artistic talents. I'm all business. I'm all business. I can't draw a stick.
Although I would have to say, I think it does. A lot of the business is being creative too. So it's just utilizing it in a different way. I mean, because I really would contend that the best business people do access both sides of their brain, for lack of a better way to describe it. Because if you're strictly a bean counter, then you're not inventing podcasts when you're 50 years old, and you're not starting new coaching businesses in your 50s. You know what I mean? Then you're just
I don't know if I would say bean counter, though. I think it's more being able to manage a process, leading your own life, keeping focus of the vision, knowing how to manage your time, all helps you on the business side. I don't know how creative I need to be for that, but I guess I do create creative programs, right? That can.
Marina's saying she's hearing lots of echo.
Lower your volume as low as you can for where you can still hear me, because I lowered you because I might be hearing myself back a little bit.
Okay, I'm on 1 bar. I'm on 1 bar.
Can you hear me? Can you hear me now?
I mean, I hear you lower. I can hear you. Can everybody else hear both of us still?
I don't hear any echo back now that you lowered it, so that might help a little bit.
Oh, you know what? I wonder if, okay, thanks, she said. Okay, thanks, Marina.
Oh, good. Okay.
You know what? I wonder if here I think I'm coming through the speaker and maybe I'm coming through the built-in, and that was the problem. I don't know how to.
I don't hear the echo anymore. I was hearing myself back, so now I don't hear it. But what was interesting to me is once I started Expressive Living Art, Framing and Accessories, which is the business I just shut down, right? Because I really love the coaching. I realized that I started a personal training business after I left the bank, after I had 2 kids. Then I started the Expressive Living, and that was 15 years profitable, 2 employees working in my house while I'm raising my kids. And then I started the coaching business. Oh, Chloe's saying it was better when you held up your microphone.
Okay, I was going to look for a different headset while you were talking, but if this works.
Aiden's telling me to put on a headset. So anyway, I realized we're a disaster, but we're having fun. So I quickly realized while I was running Expressive Living, a lot of the designers were coming to me for business advice because I was very business minded.
Right.
And I loved helping them. I loved helping them with the communications with their clients. I loved helping them figure out how they should charge. I loved teaching them how to do Facebook and Instagram and all these little business things. And I thought, you know what? I'm divorced now. Going to have to sell the house. I can't. The showrooms are in the house. The room I'm in right now those are carpeted walls because I used to have frame corners like a frame shop all up and down. This whole room is all carpeted. Years ago, I took a staple gun. I stapled all this carpet myself to the walls.
Oh my God.
See, you can't take the carpet down now because God knows what the walls look like.
That would make a great podcast studio, all that carpet.
Well, that's why I figured I wouldn't take it down, right? Acoustically, I'm always live. I'm always doing, coaching via Skype. So
right.
Anyway, I thought, you know what, it's been consistent. And then running the Long Island chapter of the Interior Design Society, I love helping I love growing businesses. So that was the bottom line. I love growing businesses. So how do I keep shutting down, opening up, shutting down, opening up? What should I do? I should just help other people grow their businesses.
Right.
And that was kind of like my light bulb moment. I want to sell the house eventually. I want to be mobile. I want to help people. It's like I can do now helping people get successful businesses over and over and over again. Right. So it's perfect. But I want to talk a little bit more about just the reality. Like, what is your schedule like?
You don't want to scare everybody. You don't want to scare them.
It's not scaring them, but I think it's making them realize, yes, we may be workaholics, but
I hear you though.
It's, I was talking to someone yesterday, and when we calculated how many hours she was actually working really hard at upping her business, it was 33 hours on paper, but then in between, dentist appointments and kids and this and that, it probably was more like 20.
Right. That's the thing. If you're kidding yourself, right?
That's my point, right? So you want to try to have a 40-hour work week.
I would love to try and have that.
I'll coach you on that, LuAnn. It's called picking and choosing. What we're actually
here's what I would say about it. Here's the two different things I would say about that. Is the one side of the conversation is exactly as you said, is I have found that many times when a person is not successful in their business, whether it's interior design or otherwise, that one of the first things they do have to analyze is, are they actually working it? So like you just said, whoever it was felt like they were working 35 hours a week. And when you analyzed it, it was really 23 hours a week. And by the way, we're not talking about you shouldn't work 23 hours a week if that's what your model is, but don't work basically a 40-hour week and think nothing's not working. Analyze it, okay?
Exactly.
And so, and be real and don't kid yourself, okay? On the other side of it is that when you get to where I am now, where I'm doing basically 2 full-time gigs, and I am, legit working 7 days a week. Where I'm at now is I know exactly where I'm at. I know that this is not sustainable. I know that this is not a great model. But what I actually understand is that I am legitimately executing tasks every week that are not things that I should be doing. They are not in my zone of genius so for instance, at WindowWorks, I'm highly productive at WindowWorks because at this point at WindowWorks, I basically sell and contribute to marketing. That's it. I don't place orders. For the most part, you can count on one hand the number of my orders. I have to place my drapery orders. They're complicated to pass off. Blind orders, any of that stuff. I don't make appointments. I don't confirm appointments. I don't set up installations. I don't check product. I don't make sure the right thing has been ordered. I don't check to see that the fabric went from Cravat to the workroom. I go into somebody's house. I sell them something. I go back. I pass it off. Okay. So I'm probably doing about 35 hours a week at WindowWorks, but I would tell you 30 of them are selling. And so that's a great thing because that's what I'm good at.
And that's the goal.
Right. Now the podcast though is in startup mode.
Exactly.
And so the podcast, I'm doing almost everything. Of course, we all know that I have editors that are doing the sound editing, and I have consultants that are doing the show notes and things like that. But everything else, book a guest, get a guest, talk to a guest, get the guest, research the guest, put the social media out, all of that other stuff. And so what I'm at now is I'm at that point where if I was coaching myself, I would say, where's your list of the things that only you can do? Where's the list of the things that you love to do? Where's the list of the things that you don't like to do, LuAnn? And where's the list of the things that you don't have to be the one to do? Because those other 2 lists, the things I don't like to do and the things I don't have to do at this point, because I'm doing probably 30 hours a week on the podcast and 35, 40 hours a week at WindowWorks, those 2 lists need to come off my plate.
Yes.
But we're in startup mode.
That was my point, really. Right. When you're in startup mode or re-startup mode,
right?
You're re-energizing.
You got dues to pay.
Right. You might have been in business for 5 or 10 years and you realize, you know what, I want to get myself up to that next level. So sometimes you have to go, I'm going to take 6 months at a shot, work really hard, find some new time slots. You know, I do that time analysis for busy growing entrepreneurs for my clients. They do this worksheet and it has made people cry because they didn't realize. Some people absolutely use their time fabulously. And then we do have to make a list, just like you're saying. Okay, what can you not do? What can you outsource? Right. Because you really are fabulous at managing your time. And other people go, you know what? Maybe I could find an hour in my day if I wake up a half an hour early or 15 minutes early and cut out one TV show or something. I never suggest taking away from family. You know, like that's the most important thing.
I mean, why you have to have some joy. You have to have some, you know, that would be like saying take away my Friday night with the Vincennes and my Pinot Noir. And that's not happening.
Where's your Pinot Noir? It's weekend wine down.
I have about 6 hours of work ahead of me after this. It's Friday, so I only have 6 hours after this. If this was a Tuesday or Wednesday, I have about 8 hours.
I know. You know what? The goal is always to get to the point where you're working your ideal schedule. But in the beginning, and I think that's sort of the point of what it really takes to increase your business to a new level, it's kind of like a big push, whether you're starting from scratch or whether you're, you know, starting to get to that next level again. And you realize you've got some things to learn, some things you have to adjust, maybe bring in some assistance, whether it's a virtual assistant or a live assistant, and trust them to do more.
Right.
You know,
right. And I was going to say that to you too. The thing about it is to have clarity on it. Okay. Or like for me, I don't not have the person executing those 2 lists of duties because I don't trust somebody to do it. I'm too hands-on and I'm not a delegator. It's because we're working the budget out. It's a business. It's got to be profitable. And there is that push period. We all know it, that push period where, you know, it's the balance between when can I pay and afford to hire. And the other thing for me is I am not going to hire a less than, you know, a good enough person. When I go to hire that person, it's going to be somebody that hits the ground running. I don't have time to teach them, train them. You know, there's been times in Window Works. I know the difference. It's not a judgment. I'm the first person that would love to hire young people and have them come in and mentor them and teach them and everything else. But with all the balls in the air, this hire has to be work, do, move. Right. Not like, okay, let me take 60 years to teach you how to do this. And so I know that I'm going to spend some good coin for that person is the point. You know what I mean? Right. That's going to be a quality person. And so quality worker, not person. You know what I mean?
Right.
Talented. And so the thing is if you are listening and you are, what's the word? You're empathizing and you're like, that's me. I'm really busy too. And I'm working too many hours and I'm not taking Saturdays and Sundays off and this and that. Think about, is it because you have no experience delegating, or is it you don't have your system written and documented what you're doing, so you couldn't even possibly tell somebody or teach somebody how to do it? So my point is, I know very clearly why I'm in this mode. It won't be forever.
Right.
But I'm here because it's been thought out, and it's been a decision between myself and Bill and Vinny to not put X amount more dollars out right at this point. But I'm not here because I'm not thinking about it. I'm not here because I don't know the difference, and I'm not here because I don't trust somebody to do work as well as I do. And that's what I find that the entrepreneur out there, that when they get to that first hire, it's because they're not organized enough to teach the hire what to do, and or they get the person and they end up doing everything side by side with them anyway. It's like, no, you have to have your system in place so that you can sit them down and say, this is how it gets done, teach them how to do it, empower them to do it, check with them on a regular enough basis, whether it's daily or weekly, until they're up to snuff, to keep making sure that they're moving along and learning. But you can't grow if you can't duplicate yourself and you can't offload some of those things. And, you know, and look, this is for people who don't want to grow. I've interviewed designers that are perfectly happy, don't want to grow, want to work 3 days a week. Right.
Absolutely. I mean, even when I worked for the bank and I went from, collector, right? Customer service collector. When I got out of college, I was a collector, then customer service, then assistant supervisor, assistant manager. And somebody said to me once when I got to a little bit of a higher level, they said, well, don't teach him everything that you know, because then you're going to be out of a job. And I said, no, it's the exact opposite.
Exactly.
Teach them everything that I know so I can move up. And you know what? I landed as first vice president before I took a package to leave because I was pregnant with my second. And I feel the same way with every business I run. I started with that big push. I think that's the reality, right? Every time I want to re-up or start a new business, it's a big push. And then I start to reevaluate. Okay, now it's been 3 to 6 months. Take a deep breath. Who can I bring on? And what I started to do, which is a great tip for people if you can do this, is you record what you do.
Right.
Right. I can record
The
how
steps
I,
in Camtasia or whatever, right?
You record the steps on how you find an image for Facebook, how you schedule it, how you post it, and you can keep it for the future, right? You when you hire somebody, then it's like, here, go train yourself.
Exactly.
Right? Ask me if you have any questions. Gotta go.
Exactly.
The other thing I love to do, and I've done this a lot with my VAs, is I will pay for them to go to the training. You know what? Somebody was upping my DOMA the other day, and I said, "Are you having your assistant with you when you do that?" Because you need to understand the system,
Right.
and they need to be able to run the system, right? For you as much as possible. So getting your assistant kind of like being able to duplicate what you do, except for the creative part, right? And except the parts you love to do, will allow you to have a half a day off. They'll have a day off, a weekend off sometimes. So if you can't always hire the already trained person, that would be my suggestion, is that you can actually hire someone who hasn't been trained, but has that drive and that gumption, and train them by starting to document what you do today.
Exactly. I wonder if anybody out there has any questions for us.
Let's see. Anybody have any questions? I see there's a couple of people on. Okay, so Chloe said we are better with the microphones, so I should
good.
just
Thanks,
do that
Chloe.
from now on. One of the things that I always like to remind people is just to continue to learn, right? I always have I'm reading Instagram Secrets right now, right? I've done well with my Instagram, but right now on my nightstand is Instagram Secrets. So every day.
Nice bedtime reading.
Yeah, isn't that right? We're the novels of past years.
Oh my God. I used to read novels all the time. Now I only read business books or listen to them on audio or podcasts.
I know. Me too. I only read on vacation now, and usually I have to be on vacation for 2 or 3 days till I really unwind.
Yeah.
And then I can't believe I can actually,
like a siesta.
Exactly. So you know what? Talk about the support system and how to do that big push in your business. How important it is to try to have a support system around you.
So you definitely, especially if you want to, earn more money and grow bigger, you're going to have at some point people that you have in your circle, in your business, whether it's in your business or virtual, whatever it is. It definitely starts with your systems, though. You have to understand what you do first. And I'm like going to be a broken record about it. But the truth is that if you were going to teach somebody to play the piano, you would never sit down at the piano and look at them and go, well, I don't really know how to do this just yet. Let's figure it out together. Like you can understand how absurd that is, but you often don't realize that you need that same, organization in everything you do. I have been, over the last couple of months, literally in my free time, like, at a traffic light or in line at the airport.
Your free time.
I have all these like notes in my phone with different titles. It's like, how to edit a show, not the music in the back end, but the physical. And I'm literally constantly writing all of my steps down. And it's like, it would be great if I sat down and did it as a task at a desk, but I don't have time for that right now. But it doesn't mean it doesn't get done. You
Right.
see? So whether you do it, at the grocery line or you do it because you're this, but sit down. It's like, what are the questions that I ask when a potential new client calls me about my services? What are those questions? It can't be in your head. They have to be on a piece of paper. And maybe there's sorts of things that you say when a client says this, not just the questions that you ask, but when a client says this, what are the 2 or 3 responses that are appropriate to say back? Because if the first person you hire is an assistant to answer your phone, you need them to know what information do you want off the phone? And my point is to not make this so like, well, of course, I'll just tell them that. To Nancy's point, if you record it, whether it's through Camtasia or you make a notebook of it, then yes, you're still going to hire the person and sit down and tell them. But when you walk away, you leave the little list or you leave the little thing. So you're not telling them about the intake questions every day for 2 weeks. It's like, tell them one, and that increases your efficiency. And so you have to do that with everything you do. How do I place an order for a sofa? Does it have nail heads? Does it, get down filling? Does it have legs? Does it have a skirt? These are all the things. When I make an appointment to meet a window treatment vendor at a measure, what are the things I need to tell them? So you have to get organized, and then you can figure out the person that you need. When you list all the jobs that you're ready to offload, you can look and see, is that an introvert that would succeed at that job? Is it an extrovert that would succeed at that job? Is it, because that was something for me that I took a while to learn. In the beginning, when you're young, you tend to hire people that have the same personality as you.
I know.
So I'm high energy, I'm outgoing. And so naturally, when people would come to interview for the position of showroom coordinator, people that were with high energy and outgoing, I'd be like, oh, that'd be a great person. Like, she can answer the phone and she'll be la, 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 la. Right. A high energy person doesn't want to sit at the desk all day for 8 hours. Like you could just put a needle in my vein before I sat at the desk all day for 8 hours.
It's true.
I learned that position is better suited to an introvert. Right. Somebody that is like, hey, I get here at 9 o'clock in the morning. I put my head down. I work all day. At 5 o'clock, I look up and go home. And that person's happy doing that. Right. So it takes a while, but you gotta push through, because you do need to support people.
So you'll laugh at my conversation the other day. I'm like, okay, soon I'm going to have to bring on another assistant. And maybe it does need to be, back to someone in the house again, which I kind of like not having now that Expressive Living is closed. I don't have the 2 employees here. One works from home. One is pursuing other things. And I'm like, can I get somebody who can do some graphics and can do my hair once in a while? Because I'm like so often, right? And my son looked at me and went, really, Mom? I'm like, no, really? I think that would be the perfect combination, right? You can do graphics, social media, and do my hair once in a while. Because a blowout is $25. And when I'm doing a photo shoot or a live, wouldn't it be great if my hair was just fabulous? Let's see what Darcy said. So when I hired my first administrative assistant, I had them write the manual for the step-by-step process for their job.
Good for you, Darcy.
That was awesome, which did 2 things. Helped train her and had great manual for the next hire. It took a bit of side-by-side training on my part. But absolutely, Darcy, that was perfect, because if you can get that done early on, and again, not to stress everyone, but do it as you're going along. Right,
that's what I'm saying. Do it in the parking lot at the red light.
Oh, I can't tell you how many notes I have in my phone. And then now that I have carpeted walls, now what I do is I take notes for something I want to remember. You know me, LuAnn, it's like a new program I want to come out with. I write it on a piece of paper, I rip it off, and it's tacked now. So these walls are getting worse and worse. Do I really?
Wait. Mine are taped. Hang on, look.
Okay, similar. Definitely starting to form. I can't move my computer because I have 3 monitors. But yeah, now I look up at my wall and I'm like, wow, I have a lot of really good ideas. And then I have instructions too when my computer craps out, what to do, because who remembers that time from every time it happens? Yeah,
because it doesn't happen every day. It happens every 20 months, and then you're like, what? Like I had to find my Facebook login. I'm like, what is my Facebook login?
You should have LastPass. I do LastPass. It saves all my password, because like you and designers, you guys have a ton of passwords from all the different
for all the different
suppliers, you know.
accounts.
But anyway, so we're coming to the end of our weekend wind down. See, I still have some left. And then
You do. I didn't get my wine. Sorry. Here's cheers to you. Uh-oh. There's the internet. Loving it. Oh, there you are. You're back.
Oh, yeah, I was going to say we just went out. Uh-oh. So thank you so much for being my guest today and making it work. I really, really appreciate it.
Oh, thank you so much. I love hanging out with you, Nance.
I know. For those who don't know, we do a group coaching together, and we're trying to figure out if we're continuing on what avenue. Like there's so many opportunities for everybody, and same with you guys. There's so many opportunities for you guys. It's really just picking your goal. I always say this: pick your goal, right? What's your goal?
What's your why? That's what what's your why? Why are you doing it?
Why are you doing it? And then what's your goal for 6 months from now? And then laying out the steps on how you get there, considering all the other things you have in your life and making your life the way you want it, right? The balance between work and your personal life. However you want it to be, you can make it be. It just takes a little creativity, right?
That's it. That's it.
So, all right. Well, you guys have a great weekend. Have a great weekend, LuAnn. And
thank you, Nancy. Thank you, everybody. Bye, Chloe. Bye, Marina. Bye, Darcy. Bye, everybody.
Bye, guys.